So China's Asian Cup has most likely just come to an end. Did I think we'd be disappointing? Yes. Did I think we'd be this disappointing? No. Emotional damage! With that being said, let's do a quick recap of China's Asian Cup. Because what better way to end off my day than by revisiting the bane of my existence. China started off with a disappointing 0-0 draw against Tajikistan. I'll be honest, considering how badly I expected us to do in this tournament, at first I was perfectly fine with a 0-0 draw. After all, we did have a goal disallowed. But what was to come was much worse. Next was China versus Lebanon. Despite getting most of the possession, China couldn't really make anything happen, as they had 15 shots compared to Lebanon's 12 throughout the entire match. However, Wu gets the best chance of the game, and he gives China the lead. This match ends in a 0-0 draw, and I am truly on the ropes. Wait, drawing against Tajikistan, I can accept. But Lebanon? For goodness sake, Lebanon finished last in their 2022 World Cup qualifier group. This is a team that, if you've ever seen that episode of Captains, they had played in a previously war-torn country, and yeah, they put up a decent fight against heavyweights like Iran. But still, not to mention the fact that top scorer Wu can't score an open goal from 2 meters out. I don't know how, but this man was possessed by World Cup Lukaku. But with China letting me down spectacularly, again, our next match would be a must-win game against Qatar. On the last day, the permutations were going wild. In order to guarantee progression, China would need to win against Qatar. In order to guarantee progression, China would need to draw against Qatar and hope that Tajikistan versus Lebanon ends in a draw as well. In order to have any hope of progression, China needed to draw against Qatar, regardless of what the other result was. Well, actually, if China lost to Qatar and Tajikistan won against Lebanon, then we would be placed in the third place team. In the lead up to the match, I was very pessimistic. My only glimmer of hope, my only tiny spark of hope, was that Qatar are not only guaranteed the knockout stage, they were also guaranteed first place in the group. So realistically, they have no reason to play their starters and risk injury and fatigue. So most likely, they would play their backups instead. But I'll be honest, even if they played their U15 squad, I was still going to be nervous. China has no advantages in football. We can't defend, we can't control the midfield, and especially, we can't attack. Our finishing is non-existent, and if top scorer Wu can't score an open goal from 2 meters out, imagine how bad the others are. But hey, at the end of the day, it's football. So, we'll see what happens. Who knows? Maybe China can surprise me. Lo and behold, on the day of the match, I was completely right, as Qatar switched out 9 of their starters and played mostly backups. To my surprise, China started off really well, creating quite a few chances. Did we finish any of those chances? Well, you know the answer by now. But still, the fact that we actually created those chances and genuinely looked dangerous in the first half, you know, it gave me hope. Maybe we can do it. And then the second half came. Oh boy! Come the second half, Qatar subbed on 3 of their starters immediately, including Salah Zakaria. It was funny at the time, I swear. Too bad for him, he got injured within about 15 minutes and had to be subbed off for another goalkeeper, Qatar's third choice, I think. Even worse news, in the 64th minute, Qatar subbed on Afif, you know, the guy who scored twice against Lebanon. But hey, China's defense has been okay. We haven't conceded any goals throughout the entire tournament, so this should be no problem. in theory at least. But remember what team you're talking about. It only takes Afif 2 minutes to make the difference as he delivers a corner which meets a screaming volley. And Qatar take the lead. What else is new? Qatar's goal of the tournament contender would be the winning goal as it ends 1-0 to Qatar. Even better news, Tajikistan won 2-1 against Lebanon, which means they progress as a second place team, while we finish third with 2 points. Losing to Qatar's B team is bad enough. Even worse was the fact that we had to be bailed out by Tajikistan. Had Tajikistan versus Lebanon ended in a 1-1 draw, we would have been knocked out completely. 4th place, complete disappointment, rubbish, a mess. I'm at a loss for words. And while, yes, I know, there's technically still a chance we could progress as a 3rd place team, let's be honest, what are we going to do with 2 points? It's almost certainly not going to happen. It would take a colossal amount of bottling in the other groups for us to have any hope of progressing. So yeah, realistically, China are knocked out. If they aren't, by some miracle, if they're still in the tournament by the time the group stage is over, I'll come back to this and make a follow-up video. But yeah, in all likeliness, we're done. Better luck next time. I am just tired. I mean, I got up at 6:30 a.m., live streamed an entire video just to watch that horror show, that disaster class. There is a case to be made about China's last game against Qatar because we did genuinely look good in the first half. The problem is, where was that fight the entire tournament? You couldn't have shown this against Tajikistan or Lebanon, maybe get a few wins? And despite being a country of around 1.4 billion people, we can't find 3 decent midfielders who can actually do at least a little bit of build-up play. Seriously, for most of the tournament, we couldn't string 3 passes together. Genuinely, unironically, I'd rather have McFred than this midfield. Aside from the midfield, our attack was completely barren. Something is dreadfully wrong if both of our strikers have 0 shots and all of our shots come from the midfield. You know, the same one that can't even string 3 passes together. Case in point, that opening game against Tajikistan. Han Xin was non-existent. Zhang Yuning was completely disappointing. And will someone tell me, where was Wu Lei? Please, someone tell me in that opening game, pretty please, tell me, where was Wu Lei? A bigger mystery than Waldo. This man is supposed to be our top scorer, but he just disappeared for the entire match. Where was Wu Lei? Where? That summarizes our entire team. Our defense is non-existent, our midfield can't string passes together, they can't go 5 seconds without losing the ball, and our forwards make Anthony Martial look like prime Ronaldo. But I do want to give some credit to goalkeeper Yan Junling, because although our defense has gone missing for pretty much the entire tournament, he alone kept our shambolic tournament alive. Anyways, that was a horrible way to start the day because that was in the morning for me. I had to go through classes with that kind of disappointment first thing in the morning. Yippee! But for the coming years, I can only hope that the national team goes in the right direction. I'm hoping. I am praying we turn this around. Although I have heard the Chinese Super League is starting to reverse its naturalization policy, so I'd say if we're being optimistic, maybe we'll start seeing improvement in the next, say, 3 to 5 years. That's being extremely optimistic, but still. If we can just develop our youth more, give them more chances in the national team, maybe we can improve. Maybe we can restore some semblance to our former glory. Just maybe. But yeah, at the moment, it's just pain, suffering, and agony. I am suffering pain of the highest order, I am experiencing agony of the greatest magnitude known to humanity. This affliction is commonly known as being a Chinese football fan. There is nothing in this condition except disappointment and heartbreak and sadness. But hey, on the bright side, at least we're not the German national team.